from Syria. His family owned a series of supermarkets. He goes to a private school, and overnight, their life is upside down. They had to leave Syria, come to Egypt. His mother and his sister bake items, and he takes it and sells it during the day. If he sells, they make money. If he doesn't sell, they don't end up with money for the day. 11 years old. He told him, what time do you leave to your house? He said at 10:30 p.m. My friend Ahmed got in his car, is about to leave, and then he went back again to the boy and he said, well, if I buy everything you have, are you gonna go home now? It was like almost 7 p.m. He said, yes. So Ahmed decided to buy basically everything from Nail, so Nail can go home and not stay out in the cold and wind. Next story, my older brother, about 15 years ago, wanted to hire an office boy for his company. And he hired an office boy to his company, and this young man happened to be at my exact age. So we became friends. First day, he showed up to work wearing flip-flops, not shoes. And this is not very standard. When people go to work, they, technically speaking, wear shoes. My brother didn't want to embarrass him. Maybe he doesn't have inappropriate shoes to come to work with. So he took him aside and he said, listen, there is a uniform that we buy to our employees. So what is your shoe size? So we may get you a shoe for work. The answer was, he doesn't know. At this time, we were 17 or 18 years old. Why he doesn't know his shoe size? Because he had never bought a pair of shoes in his entire life. The only shoes he got to wear were either donated to him, or I think there's no other option. Either donated to him or he doesn't wear shoes, right? Third story, back in the days, we used to do i'tikaf in a local masjid in Cairo. We had a friend, he was making i'tikaf with us all the time. And then a few years later, I came to America. I don't know where he is right now. But I only noticed that on his Facebook, he is posting about things that are typically atheists do. I reached out to him. I was like, what's going on? And the answer was, I'm really surprised you guys still believe in this quote-unquote nonsense. He believes there's no God, and he has become an atheist. Right? A very good kid who would spend the nights of Ramadan doing i'tikaf in the masjid. Not just an average kid in Egypt. Next story. When I was in high school, second year in high school, 15 years old, I went to a private school in Egypt. A good friend of mine, coming from a good family, religious, wealthy, got engaged in a criminal activity, and he ended up in jail with a 15 years sentence. I went to visit him. I visited him at jail, and he basically went to jail for kids, right? Like below 18. And you can only imagine who are the type of people who would end up in such jail, right? What kind of families, I don't know, from what backgrounds, circumstances of life, etc. But the least I can say, it was an extremely painful visit for me. A kid who I would assume his biggest concern or biggest fight at home is around homework and how much money he gets and how much budget he has for his next trip. ends up in a very, very, very difficult situation, along with very difficult kids to deal with, and future doesn't look anything near bright. 15 years I'm stuck in this place. Well, and the list goes on. I have many other stories to share, but I'll stop here. And the reason I'm sharing these stories to just highlight one thing. Whether it's about money, it's about health, it's about freedom, it's about family members and parents. These are all ni'am, blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that most of us wake up to every single day not paying attention to. We're very used to wake up in a safe place, right? Some other people wake up to in a very dangerous place. They don't even know how to sleep, right? Many of us wake up with, alhamdulillah, moving bodies. We get up, we get breakfast, drive our cars, and go to work. And many of us wake up to family members around us that we negotiate life with them and fight and have happy moments, etc. And sadly, many of us also focus on the missing tile, as they call it, the missing tile syndrome. If you walk into a room like this and you look at the ceiling, a ceiling that is made of tiles, and there's one missing tile, most of our eyes will go to the missing tile. This is by human nature. And that's no problem when it comes to ceilings because we can always fix it. But in life, it's different. Because each and every one of us has a missing tile. If you look around the room, if you look at yourself, your life, your cousins, your wife, everyone in the world have 1, 2, or 3 problems that they are so focused on. And they think once these problems are solved, our lives will be amazing. Right? And unfortunately, we have a tendency, it's a human nature tendency, that we just focus on these missing tiles. I heard someone say, a bald man told him, when I walk to a room, I only see hair. A lady who can get pregnant said, when I walk to a room, I only see pregnant women. Even though the overwhelming majority of women are not pregnant, but because that's the one part that's missing in her life, she can only see it around. Right? So today we'll be talking about Manzilat al-Shukr, being thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for what we have. Manzilat al-Shukr, the being thankful status or state, is a very high level or a state of iman, right? Being radi, content, is one thing, and then higher to that is being thankful, right? And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said this is half of the religion. قال عجبا لأمر المؤمن إن أمره كله له خير إن أصابته ضراء صبر فكان خيرا له وإن أصابته سراء شكر فكان خيرا له. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, astonishing is the state of a believer. When they are facing hardship, difficult times, they are patient, and indeed, this is the best for them. And when they are going through good times, they are thankful, and indeed, this is best for them. Some of the scholars said that shukr is even the entirety of the religion. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put shukr against kufr in many verses. قال الله سبحانه وتعالى إنا هديناه السبيل إما شاكرا وإما كفورا. وقال وإذ تأذن ربكم لئن شكرتم لأزيدنكم ولئن كفرتم إن عذابي لشديد. وقال إن تكفروا فإن الله غني عنكم ولا يرضى لعباده الكفر وإن تشكروا يرضه لكم. وقال فاذكروني أذكركم واشكروا لي ولا تكفرون. وقال سليمان عليه السلام هذا من فضل ربي ليبلوني أأشكر أم أكفر ومن شكر فإنما يشكر لنفسه ومن كفر فإن الله غني عن العالمين. One of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is الشكور. Allah thanks the little things we do and forgives because of those little things we do. And Allah is only expecting the same from us. Right? قال إن الله لا يرضى عن العبد إذا أكل الأكلة فيحمده عليها وإذا شرب الشربة فيحمده عليها. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said Allah will be happy, content with the abd who whenever they eat say alhamdulillah, whenever they drink say alhamdulillah, as little as that. Do you know about the woman who was a prostitute, المرأة البغي? She was in the desert, she got thirsty and she found the well and drank. And as she got out of the well, she saw a thirsty dog. And she said, basically the dog is facing what I just faced a little while ago. So she went back and she filled her shoes with water and she went out and fed the dog. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam قال فشكر الله لها فغفر لها. Allah thanked this little action for her and what? And Allah forgave everything she did. Everything she did. Just because of this little action. Inna Rabbi ghafurun shakur. And Allah always associated shukr, being thankful, to maghfirah. Because indeed, if someone is showered and blessed with so many blessings and bounties from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this person is not thankful, then this person deserves to be punished, deserve not to be forgiven. So الشكر والمغفرة always came together. And a shukr, for someone to be in a state of shukr, shukr is not just by saying alhamdulillah. Definitely saying alhamdulillah a lot is part of shukr. But shukr is a state. It's a state of mind, it's a state of heart, it's a state of someone who lives with this idea of I'm very thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for everything He has given me. And I'm very thankful for the things that I don't have. Because what I don't have, I still get reward for being patient for. And I don't have something, and everyone around me doesn't have something. It's not just I am the only one who doesn't have this. Well, in fact, I don't have this where other people don't have something else that they wish they can get. So to be in a state of shukr, there are 5 things you need to do. Number 1, al-khudu', submission. 2, mahabba, love. 3, al-i'tirafu bin-ni'mah, acknowledging, right, the ni'am that you have. 4, al-thana'u 'ala al-mun'im, praising the one who gave you. And 5, do not use the ni'mah for something that makes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not happy. Right? وَأَلَّا يَسْتَعْمِلَ النِّعْمَةَ فِيمَا لَا يُرْضِي. Someone who has dignity and understands what generosity is, when they are giving something, they reciprocate that. You will see how thankful they are. وَلَا يُنْكِرُ النِّعْمَةَ إِلَّا لَئِيمٌ. وكما قال الشاعر إن أنت أكرمت الكريم ملكته وإن أنت أكرمت اللئيم تمرد. Right? When you give to someone who has dignity and understands generosity, you will own their heart. And if you give something to someone who doesn't have these traits, they'll just like, so what? I only have very little. So what? When you ask them about life, all they do is complain. you never hear something good about the ni'am they have. They're only complainings of the things that they don't have. Money, I have little. Wealth, I have little. Health, my wife, they're only complaining. And this is a trait of someone who is not kareem, right? النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في حديث عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أرسل خيلا في نجد. He sent a group of warriors on horses to a place called Najd. And they came back, they captured someone, his name is Thumama ibn Uthal. Okay? And this guy, Thumama, happened to be the leader of his people. They're called the people of Yamama. So the Sahaba captured this guy. It was time of war. And they brought him to the masjid. And they tied him to one of the pillars of the masjid. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came to meet this guy. قال ما عندك يا ثمامة؟ قال خيرا يا محمد إن تعفو عن شاكر وإن تقتل ذا دم وإن أردت مالا فسل تعطى منه ما شئت. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam went to him and he said, what do you have to say? He said, if you let go of me, then you will only let go of someone who is shakir, someone who is thankful. In other words, you will see what I'm going to do in order to thank you. وَإِن تَقْتُلْ ذَا دَمْ. And if you kill me, I'm not an average person. I am the leader of my people. In other words, my people will come after you. And if you want money, just let me know how much you want and we'll give you whatever you ask. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam didn't comment and he left him for another day. And he came to him second day. He said, ما عندك يا أمامة؟ قال عندي ما قلت. He said, what I said yesterday. If you forgive a thankful person. If you kill someone with a tribe to take revenge for him. And if you want money, we'll give you whatever you want. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam also didn't comment and he came to him the third day. He said, what do you have to say? He said, what I said. Same thing. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam let go of him. He said, okay, you're free to go. Part of it, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam wanted to keep him around so he observes what the Muslim community does and their akhlaq and their manners and the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and the prayers, etc. He is sitting in the masjid for 3 straight days. As soon as Thumama left, he went to a place where some palm trees, he got shower and he came back to the masjid and he declared his shahada. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. And he said, Wallahi ya Muhammad, I did not hate someone more than you. And Wallahi, I do not love anyone at this moment more than you. Wallahi, I did not hate any religion more than your religion. And Wallahi, I do not love any religion now more than your religion. He said, Wallahi, I didn't hate anyone, any religion. And then he said, I didn't hate any balad, any country or place more than your place. And now it's the most beloved land to me. And he was originally coming to do Umrah, so Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam asked him to go and do it. And as he went, he met people and they asked him, like, did you really, they called him a sabat. When people left their religion and went to Islam, they called him a sabat. And he said, La wallahi bal aslamt. And then he told the people of Quraysh, not a single piece of goods or trade will come to you from my city before the permission of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. قال إن تعفو عن شاكر. This is someone who understood, submission and love when someone bestow a blessing upon them. Right? النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال من لا يشكر الناس لا يشكر الله. Someone who doesn't thank people doesn't thank Allah. Because this is something inside. Being thankful is a state. You appreciate when something good happens to you. And look at your life. It's full of good things. Right? We're all going through lots and lots of ni'am of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we can't even count. Just the matter of the fact that you are here right now is a huge ni'mah. The overwhelming majority of people are not praying Jumu'ah now, but you are. Allah chose you to pray Jumu'ah now. And this in itself is a great ni'mah that you should be thankful for. And Allah said, وَلَئِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. When you're thankful, Allah increases you. All you need to do is to just remember that. Every time you're going through something, say it out loud. You eat a good meal and you say, Alhamdulillah, this was a good meal. Say it out loud. Remind your family to say Alhamdulillah. If you have something extra, give it to people around you. Be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم. الحمد لله وصلى اللهم وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في حديث في الصحيحين حدثنا عن 3 نفر من بني إسرائيل. In a hadith that is narrated in Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam talks to us about 3 people from Banu Israel. One of them had a skin disease. So his skin color didn't look good, and people thought it's contagious, so people would not like to come close to him. And he was poor. The second man was bald, he didn't have any hair, and he was poor. And the third man was blind, and he was poor. فأراد الله أن يبتليهم. So Allah wanted to test them. So He sent them an angel in a form of a human being. He went to the first guy and he said, أَيُّ الْأَشْيَاءِ أَحَبُّ إِلَيْكَ. He said, what do you want? Like, what is the best thing for you? What would you like the most? And he said, I would like a good skin color. So I basically would like my disease to go away. And I want some money. For this angel touched the man, فبرئ. And Allah cured his disease. قال أي المال تحب. He said, what kind of money do you like? فقال الإبل. He said, camels. And that obviously was the language of money at the time. So he gave him a pregnant camel. وقال بارك الله لك في مالك. And he prayed for him that Allah bless his money or his wealth. And he did the same thing with the other 2. He went to the bald man, asked him the same questions, and Allah granted him or blessed him with hair. And he asked for cows in terms of money. So he gave him a pregnant cow. And the third man, he said, I would like to see, right? And he asked him about money. He said, I would like to get sheep. Same thing. A few years later, now the test time came about. And the angel who tested them, who went to them at the first place, went to them again, but in a form of a man of their earlier or old stage or status. So he went to the first man in a form of a man with the same exact disease. قال عابر سبيل انقطعت بي الحبال ولا وصول لي إلا بالله ثم بك. He said, I am a عابر سبيل, is a traveler that I basically lost everything I have. And right now, I have no hope to make it to my destination except by Allah and then you. So would you give me one camel so I can make it to my destination? And at that time, all three of them were very wealthy. The camel has become a valley full of camels. قال الحقوق كثيرة. The man responded and said, I'm sorry, I have so many responsibilities. I can't help. The Malak said, قال كأني أعرفك. I have a feeling that I know you. Were you not abras? Did you not have this disease before? And then Allah cured you? Were you not poor and Allah filled your life with wealth and money? قال إنما ورثته كابرا عن كابر. He said, no, I've inherited this money from my parents and great-grandparents. قال إن كنت كاذبا. He said, if you were lying, then I pray that Allah takes everything away from you and bring you back to your earlier position. And he left to the second man. Same exact conversation happened. And then he went to the third, the أعمى, the blind man. قال عابر سبيل انقطعت بي السبل أو انقطعت بي الحبال ولا وصول لي إلا بالله ثم بك. He said, I'm a traveler, can you help me with some money? And the man responded, he said, I was blind one day and Allah blessed me with bringing my sight back. I was poor one day and Allah blessed me with all what you see. So I would never keep away my money from someone who was just like me. He said, look at this valley that's full of sheep, take whatever and leave whatever. And the angel responded and he said, قال أمسك عليك مالك. He said, keep your money. فإن الله قد رضي عنك وسخط على صاحبيك. He said, Allah is pleased with you and Allah is angry with the other two. Right? This man acknowledged the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He didn't forget his past. And then what? He gave from what he has. Right? This is shukr ni'mah, basically. Go look at your closet at home today, and whatever you didn't use for the last 2-3 months, it's time for it to go. Give from what you have. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال من كان له فضل ظهر فليعد به على من لا ظهر له. Whoever has an extra back ride, an extra seat in your car, with today's language, فليعد به على من لا ظهر له. Then make sure to give a ride to someone who doesn't have a car. Maybe they're embarrassed to ask, right? They want to come to the masjid and instead of jumping in 3 buses, you offer a ride. This is basically shukr ni'mah. You take the ni'mah, you acknowledge that one day you didn't have that, maybe one day you didn't have car, maybe one day you didn't have much money, or whatever blessing you have. You take from that, you acknowledge that this is a ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you thank Him for it with your tongue. And then you reach out to people and give from what Allah has given you. Lastly, a generous person with dignity understands that whatever we give doesn't really affect our money or what we have. When we give, Allah increases and only increases what we have. So don't be afraid of having less, because it's a promise. لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. If you are thankful, Allah will increase you. That's for sure. That's a promise from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today, my brothers and sisters, try to remember to be thankful. Everything you have. If you came in a car, you're going home in a car, as soon as you get in your car, say Alhamdulillah for the ni'mah of the car. If you get lunch, after you eat your lunch, say Alhamdulillah for the ni'mah of the lunch. Other people don't have that. If you get to do anything fun tonight with your family, Alhamdulillah, other people don't have that. And try to focus on what you have, not on the missing tile. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما واجعل تفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما، ولا تجعل فينا ولا منا ولا حولنا شقيا ولا محروما. اللهم اجعلنا لك شكارين، اللهم اجعلنا لك شكارين، اللهم اجعلنا لك شكارين، لك ذكارين، لك مطواعين، إليك منيبين مخبتين أواهين. اللهم تقبل توبتنا، اللهم تقبل توبتنا، واغسل حوبتنا، وأجب دعوتنا، وصل اللهم وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد، وأقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر، أشهد أن لا إله إلا